In this day and age, getting to the NFL is a difficult goal to achieve, but there are some unsaid qualifications to being looked for by the league. One is to play collegiate football for at least 3 years, but there is that one occasion that a player makes an NFL team and not have any college experience. It's even rarer to be drafted with no college experience, and there's one player in this year's draft class that is capable to be one of few. Qwan'tez Stiggers is destined to do something great, and I want to tell his story from almost giving up on his dreams to being outstanding before entering into the draft. Qwan'tez Stiggers was born on January 8, 2002 on Atlanta, Georgia. The Stiggers household was a busy one, along with Qwan'tez having 12 other children living under one roof. At a young age, Qwan'tez had always been athletic and picked up a love for football.
Since he was 8, he's always been go-get kid, always got awards for defense player.
Eventually, it would start with Stiggers going into high school, or BEST Academy. Stiggers would go all out playing basketball, baseball, and of course, football. Through playing all these sports, football was top priority. His team was small, so he took every chance to play on the field. So when Qwan'tez's main position was defensive back, he would also play receiver, return specialist, quarterback, and running back. But his highlights were always his primary position. He would win All-Region Player of the Year as a defensive back twice. Stiggers' athleticism was never questioned, but he still couldn't help but be unnoticed from big-time colleges. He would get offers from NAIA schools and Division II, but when it came time for him to decide, Qwan'tez committed to Lane College, an HBCU in Tennessee with a scholarship. Things were looking up for Stiggers, but before he could properly begin his career, a storm of dread was coming. To start, his freshman season was on the year 2020, so predictably, the season was cancelled. Then one of his brothers in a football game would suffer a spinal cord injury that Qwan'tez said nearly left him a quadriplegic. Then the biggest blow, his father would be involved in a car crash that left him on life support, and after 8 months, would pass away. Qwan'tez would go into depression with all this, and he would choose to drop out of college to take care of his family, putting a hold on his football dreams. After dropping out of college, he would work various jobs, from a DoorDash driver to a car washer. But soon then, later his passion for football would grow, and Stiggers would reach out to colleges for a chance to play. But schools were hesitant on Qwan'tez, considering he hasn't played at a college level, and even dropping out of college was enough flash for him to be left out in the cold. Eventually, the rejection got to Qwan'tez, and he would stop trying, giving up on football. But one person would not stop for him. His mom, Qwan'tez Stiggers, knew he wanted to play football. She knew that football was his passion, so when he gave up, she continued looking for an opportunity for his son. It was a struggling search, until one day on Facebook she stumbled upon an arena football league that was local in Atlanta, the fan-controlled football league. She would find that the league was holding tryouts and pushed Qwan'tez to go for it. With enough strength, Stiggers would attend the tryout and was offered a contract with the league. Qwan'tez was back on the gridiron. So how this league was ran was the fans from each respected team ran through a weekly draft choosing a player for their team for that week's game. For defense, the FCF put them into units, making the process that a team would begin an entire defensive unit, as well as that 4 units were offered, each unit playing 2 games a week. Qwan'tez would be part of the heavy hitters, having notable players such as future XFL Guardians Mike Lee, Tobias Cook, and Cecil Cherry. The unit's first team was with the Beasts against the Glacier Boys. In his first game, Stiggers would have 3 interceptions, 1 going for a pick 6. The Beasts would win 36-20. The next game that day, Stiggers played for the Zappers against the should-have-been Stars. He wouldn't remain aggressive, but would give up the game-sealing touchdown, giving the Zappers losing 12-20. Even with that, Qwan'tez put the FCF on notice that he came to play. Him and the heavy hitters left such an impact, the Beast fans would select the unit in the first round. With the hype, the unit would string going 0-2 for the Beasts against the should-have-been Stars, 24-6, and the Kingpins against the Knights of D-Gen, 28-8. A couple weeks later, Stiggers and the heavy hitters would shine once again for the Beasts and the Board Ape Football Club. With the Board Apes, the unit pulled a 28-20 win, including a scoop and score from Stiggers.
A foot race! Jamil giving chase! Qwan'tez Stiggers won't be stopped! A touchdown!
But ultimately, with the Beasts against the Zappers, the unit put up their most impressive performance yet, shutting them out 28-0, being the first shutout game in FCF history. Stiggers with the scoop and score and 2 interceptions earned him Gatorade Player of the Week. Stiggers would record 30 tackles and lead the league in interceptions with 5. And to top it off, Stiggers would be on an all-FCF team alongside Cecil Cherry and Tobias Cook. The heavy hitters would play for the Board Apes in the playoffs and pull a win over the Knights of D-Gen to represent the NFT division in the People's Championship against the Zappers. They would lose 42-24. Even though Stiggers couldn't secure the championship, he was a highlight for the FCF and created a fan base to see him succeed. After the FCF ended in early June 2022, Stiggers was pursuing the next step to playing gridiron football. And around that same time, the XFL were holding tryouts for the draft pool in November, so Qwan'tez would try out and soon enough made the draft pool. But when the draft came, his name didn't get called. Afterwards, the Guardians would give him a private tryout, but nothing would materialize. So he was a free agent still, but there was another opportunity soon coming. After the XFL not panning out, his former coach in the FCF, John Jenkins, pushed Stiggers to try out for the Toronto Argonauts in the CFL. Jenkins himself was an offensive coordinator for the Argonauts back in the late 90s and in 2001. So Qwan'tez took on his word and tried out for the CFL. And sure enough, on January 4th, 2023, Stiggers would sign with the Toronto Argonauts. The season before, Toronto were East champs with 18-11 and win it all for the Grey Cup against the Blue Bombers 24-23. With the CFL season starting in the summer, Stiggers had a lot of time to prove that he was deserving of a roster spot. Many expected that because of his inexperience with football that he wouldn't make the team, but he would attend the team's rookie camp and against all odds, Qwan'tez made the initial roster and was playing the season opener against the Tiger Cats. In his first game, Stiggers made a good impression, recording 4 tackles and an interception. 2 weeks later against the BC Lions would be another interception and 3 tackles. By week 6, Stiggers earned a starting role for the Toronto defense. He would play every game except for the last game for rest, earning 53 defensive tackles, 3 special team tackles, and 5 interceptions for the season. Just like the FCF before, Qwan'tez blew the CFL by storm, being awarded as the CFL East All-Star and CFL's Most Outstanding Rookie of the Year. The Argonauts would make the playoffs after being first in the East with a 16-2 record, but their season was cut short after losing to the Montreal Alouettes in the Eastern Finals 38-17. Even though Stiggers had another year in his contract, he had bigger pursuits to achieve: the NFL Draft. Due to the eligibility rules, Stiggers was still able to enter the 2024 NFL Draft pool. Stiggers is looking to be one of few talents drafted with no college experience, joining defensive lineman Eric Swan from 1991 and tight end Moritz Boehringer in 2016. This was a huge hill to get over, but he was willing to do the work. He would earn a big break when he was invited to the East-West Shrine Bowl representing the West. When participating in the practice for the bowl, he would impress everyone, mirroring receivers in 1v1s and being sticky in coverage. This would make Qwan'tez stand out as people started to take notice to him. Then the game itself would be quietly impressive. According to Third Down Nation's Ben Grant, Stiggers saw action 23 defensive snaps, 18 of which came as a starting right side. He broke up the first pass of the game and then never had a ball thrown his way again, ultimately avoiding Qwan'tez. The West would go on to win the bowl 26-11. To say the least, his appearance in the bowl would increase his stock hugely. On February 23rd, the Lions would host Qwan'tez Stiggers one of their 30 draft visits. Although he did not make the combine, Qwan'tez would organize his own private pro day for NFL scouts and even for some defensive back coaches in the league on March 15th. Qwan'tez Stiggers has proven that youth does not indeed mean experience. He still has a lot to prove with scouts, seeing him as a 7th rounder at best. But as someone that has been following him since his FCF days, I know whenever team gets him is getting an athlete that has never worked harder to get where he is now. I believe that he will be great in the NFL, as long as their team gives him the chance that he never properly received. Talk your talk, Qwan'tez, and best of luck in the draft.
We the best D in the league. We go 2-0 today, baby. And we lead the whole league interceptions as a unit. You better lock in while I tweak out.
We would not have taken this unique situation if I wasn't pretty darn sure that he was going to be a draft pick when it's all said and done, based on how he plays in the NFL and certainly his NFL interest. When 20 plus teams want to sign you and then you have to go through the draft process, those guys don't fall out of the draft.
He did a nice job. He's a competitor. He goes in there, he wants to challenge those receivers. And I know it's kind of the rules of the way the game's set up is there's not a whole bunch of press coverage. So those DBs are out there on an island. They got a bunch of space with a bunch of quick receivers. So those guys have done a nice job of really being sticky in coverage.
And he really showed out against these top NFL draft prospects here at the Shrine Bowl. Really excited to see what he's going to be able to do and how much his draft stock rises thanks to this performance here at this year's Shrine Bowl.